my god, it's so freaking hot in here. I'm so ready for actual fall. Not fake fall, actual fall. Hey y'all, my name is Nat. I hope you're having a terrific day today, and for this video we are going to be doing a author taste test of Fredrik Backman. Before we get into anything bookish, however, make sure to hit like and subscribe down below, as well as tell me in the comments what of Fredrik Backman's books have you read and what was your favorite. So finally, I have managed to get around to another author taste test video. If you are new to my channel, usually with most authors, I give them 2 chances, and if I don't like either of their books, then I likely am not going to pick up any of their stuff ever again. And that's how my first author taste test with Grady Hendrix went, so now we are going to try out another author who I've heard nothing but positive things. Okay, maybe not nothing but positive things, but a lot of positive things. And that is Fredrik Backman. He is a Swedish author who I am fairly certain specializes in making his readers cry. I knew one book that I was going to do for this video for quite some time. The second book changed many times though, since I initially came up with this idea to actually executing it. So first up is 𝗖cie People, which was on my 5-star predictions video of last year, and this one I know is following a group of individuals who have been taken hostage at an apartment viewing by a bank robber who attempted to rob a bank which is cashless. While that scenario does sound more like a thriller, in reality this is more of a contemporary, and I believe it is just focusing on these different individuals bonding, and again I'm sure there's going to be some really heavy discussions brought up because that's kind of an ongoing theme with all his books. On the opposite side is A Man Called 𝗖cie. This one I know is following a curmudgeonly old man who is unfortunately kind of adopted by his next door neighbors after they inadvertently knock over his mailbox. I do know there are suicidal ideation content warnings for this book, so fair warning there. As I mentioned, heavy topics. They're gonna come up. However, I will say, of all his books I've heard about, these 2 do seem like they're the lightest. I know that's kind of ironic thing to say after just talking about suicide content warnings, but yeah, weirdly, I think these might not make me cry too much. We'll see how that goes. I will talk to you guys again when I have started into one of these books. Hey guys, so I have officially hit the halfway point into 𝗖cie People by Fredrik Backman, and my beginning thoughts were, what the heck is this writing style and why do I enjoy it so much? We alternate between many perspectives of some of the hostages. We have the bank robber, we have the police, we also have a omniscient narrator. Occasionally things are put into second person perspective, and it's almost as though we are brought into the story as well. Most of these people are very morally gray, I can tell you that right out of the gate. They're realistically strange also, which I think is just showcasing how they are so incredibly human. They're very authentic and realistic depictions of people, and I'm very impressed by that. In terms of the writing style, I can definitely understand how this would not be everybody's cup of tea, because it's almost as though a lot of conversations will just end up going in circles. The omniscient narrator occasionally will get distracted by like a topic here or a one-liner that was previously mentioned and they have to bring it back up. This goes in circles at times, but it's so quirky and entertaining. It's very funny at different points, but again, I can understand not everybody's thing. Since we do alternate between so many characters, I was a little concerned that it was going to be really easy to get lost between all of them or confuse them, but I think Backman's done a fantastic job of making each of them very distinct from one another. Like I said, they're all strange in their own way, but still somehow feel so real. He makes every one of them stand out, and then at the same time makes all of them feel so human. It's very easy to empathize with all of them because we are getting to know them all, and I don't know how he's doing it in such a quick time. I feel like we learn most about these characters in the specific chapters where we are looking at transcripts of the cop interviewing them, particularly the hostages, I mean. Somehow Backman characterizes them so strongly in that one interview. I'm very impressed. So far, the tone has been pretty funny, pretty lighthearted, but with that being said, there is this just like underlying melancholy that connects all of the characters. I think like the biggest topic that really really connects all of them that is not happy, excluding obviously this hostage situation, is they all somehow are connected or have been touched by suicide. Be aware that that's a pretty prevalent theme throughout. Content warning for it. Even with that, like I said, the tone of this isn't particularly dark. When suicide comes up, it's not as though he's focusing on the negative. He's not looking at the tragedy of the death. Like he is looking at all of the things that surround it. It's such an interesting way to look at suicide. It's not something I've really ever seen before, and I don't know how he's managing to balance that with the comedy of this. I'm very impressed. Definitely not really a lot of plot going on. This is definitely a character-focused story, but I guess what is there is about the police attempting to solve the hostage situation and figure out who the failed bank robber is, and I am pretty invested in that, I will admit. But at the same time, I'm just more curious to find out what the heck happened between all of these hostages, like what went down in this apartment viewing. It's so strange that that kind of a story, which usually would have me incredibly hooked in since I do really enjoy reading thrillers, is not my main focus. My main focus is these people and the characters and like how they have come to be this way, how they're going to move forward after this situation. Like, yeah, I'm really impressed with Backman so far. Like, everybody told me that this was very character based. I just, reading it myself, I wouldn't be surprised if I end up absolutely loving this. That's kind of why it was on my 5-star predictions. I do have a good few tabs throughout already, and I am hoping that I'll have some more. I definitely do agree that Backman's writing is very relatable. It's very quotable. I'm so impressed that he's balancing like these serious discussions coming up with so much comedy. I don't remember if I did an estimated rating in my last author taste test or not. I think I might have. But for the time being, my estimated rating on this, I love to say 5 stars, but I know from past experience that estimating 5 stars never ends well, so I'm gonna go with 4 stars and hope for the best. Hey guys, so I have officially finished out Anxious People, and while this was a 5-star prediction, I don't think I quite loved it that much. However, I did really enjoy this. It is such a character-based story. It is really just revolving around people and how we can be kind of idiotic, but at the same time we can also be so incredibly wonderful to one another. I just think it was amazing how much attention Fredrik Backman really paid to every single one of these characters, made them feel so real and unique. All of them were struggling with different things, and all of them had experiences with which they could rely on to help someone else in the group of hostages. Another part of all of these people being so incredibly unique is a lot of them are at different points in their lives and they are just trying to figure out what goes on next. They all try to help one another, and sometimes they help one another in a way where they don't even realize they're doing it. The writing was just so simple and yet so complex at the same time. Backman just crafted this group of strange people and strangers and then put them in a room together and allowed the different personalities there to create wonderful dynamics and to showcase how they could all grow. And that all takes place within a single day. I mean, I'm just so impressed with Backman's writing here, and I'm definitely excited to pick up something else from him. I had a million tabs highlighting in this for so many wonderful, sweet, funny, cry-worthy lines and moments that I really just think are going to be incredibly memorable. Some definitely do kind of feel like they were written to be quotable, while others feel like they so perfectly describe what it is to be a human being and trying to just get through the day-to-day. My few negatives were, I do think that the twist within this is not particularly shocking. There was one that I guess caught me off guard a little bit more, and I will admit that I definitely kind of played into what Backman was doing here, but there was another that happened down the line that I kind of figured was gonna happen. But even with that being said, I guess you could almost argue it was totally intentional, because this isn't really a mystery book. Like I said, it's about these people. It is about how we aren't always as shocking and mysterious as we like to think. We can kind of be idiots, and I really enjoyed that. I just think this really humanized all of these characters and made them so incredibly relatable and wonderful to follow. I had such a great time with this. I'm very excited to pick up Backman's next book. In the end, I went with 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this. It was very close to a 5-star, but I don't know, it didn't quite feel 5-star worthy. I know that's being so picky, but it's true. Hey guys, so it's been a long time since I updated this video. Not that you know, but anyway, I finally picked up another Fredrik Backman book, A Man Called 𝗖cie. 𝗖cie? I'm still not 100% sure on how you pronounce that. I am really enjoying this. Terribly ironic that I am reading this when I am, because this book is very similar to Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman, and I just recently finished this. So if you like this, try this. If you like this, try this. One way or another, you're probably gonna enjoy it. Main characters, both incredibly unlikable, both think that they are the smartest person in the room while everybody else is a complete idiot. However, they are both weirdly out of touch at the same time and usually unaware, so that's not in fact true. Leads to lots of secondhand embarrassment. And then we are just learning more about these characters and understanding why they are the way they are and what is impacting them in their life now to slowly start changing that. Literally the same. Both of these also have major up vibes. Anyway, so yes, 𝗖cie is a very unlikable character. He is a grumbly, crotchety man, and unfortunately for him, a very friendly family ends up moving in next door to him. Of course, he doesn't like them. He finds everything in the world to be upset with them about. He consistently is just grumbling and groaning about them, but they do nothing but try to kill him with kindness, and I love it. I particularly love the wife character because you could tell she kind of is tired of his shit already. Again, she is nothing but a sweetheart to him. I don't know why I enjoy that so much, but I do. Because of the kind of man 𝗖cie is, it's really hard not to laugh at the ridiculous situations he gets himself into, or when people will react in a relatively normal way, I would say. Through his perspective, he thinks they're acting like a complete idiot. He's so unaware, while the book is clearly incredibly self-aware. It's very funny. I do think that's impressive though, given the fact that the tone of this book is actually quite somber, even with that very heavy element. Again, at the same time, I'm chuckling and smiling quite often throughout this book. It kind of makes me think of that blurb describing Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, which was like, this is the funniest book about death you'll ever read. This is the funniest book about suicide that you'll ever read. So at the same time that we are seeing 𝗖cie get to know this family and they are sort of trying to befriend him, I guess you could say, we are also getting flashbacks throughout 𝗖cie's life in which we are seeing him grow up, understanding all of the things that have impacted him to become the man he is today. At the point I currently am at, we are actually seeing how he and his wife got together, how their relationship really affected him. It is so sweet. It is so wholesome. I am definitely hooked by that entire element. They remind me a lot of Ellie and Carl from Up. I don't remember where I saw that comparison, but like that's perfect here. So with that whole thing, much like 𝗖cie People, this book definitely has phenomenal character work. I really think I know 𝗖cie quite well, even though I'm only halfway through, and like I'm sure as the story progresses forward, I'm just gonna get to know him more and more and more. Halfway through this, I'm starting to understand that Fredrik Backman's writing style manages to seem like it's not well planned. It doesn't seem like it's super structured and every single sentence is incredibly thought out. It's very like stream of consciousness, easy, light, and yet he manages to drop in some lines here and there that don't seem like they're trying to be these fantastic quotes, but they still manage to resonate with you a lot. So I am really enjoying this, but like I said, the entire tone is quite sad at the same time, even when it is being funny. So part of me is a little concerned that there's gonna be some waterworks whenever I finish this. We'll find out in the next update. Hey y'all, so I officially finished out A Man Called 𝗖cie today, and apparently I should have put this on my 5-star predictions instead of 𝗖cious People, because this baby lived up to be 5 stars. This was so freaking good. I actually finished this morning while I was taking Faith on a walk. I was listening to the audiobook, and God bless my sunglasses because I was crying for like the last 5 chapters, and I probably would have looked like a crazy person whenever I walked by people. But this was amazing. I really enjoyed it. I love the fact that this story is just about 𝗖cie trying to find a new happiness in his new normal. The lighting just changed a lot. That's because I'm going with natural lighting today. And of course, clouds just got in front of the sun. The way his relationship with the family next door slowly develops as the book progresses was just so sweet, so heartfelt. It was tugging at my heartstrings many a times. It definitely kind of gave me like a similar feeling to The House in the Cerulean Sea, and I loved that. It has like this somber tone, but it's weirdly funny, and at the same time it's just so sweet. And I guess that's kind of like Fredrik Backman's sort of style, because that's the whole feeling I got with both of these books, and with what I hear about his other stuff, that sounds pretty accurate. I did go back in later and tab a few quotes. I think that the ones I marked are all pieces of dialogue or lines that are dropped, which really just encapsulate the whole theme behind the story. Each of them also just pulled at my heartstrings a good deal. I definitely think one of these is actually going to be the quote I put for next month in my reading journal because I enjoyed it so much. I was definitely correct when I stated previously that this had similar feels to Ellie and Carl from Up. Definitely stayed true in the latter half of the book. On top of that, I was clearly also correct in my concern that I was gonna cry. Boy, did I! In my previous update, I did compare this a lot to Eleanor Oliphant, and I think the reason this got 5 stars and that one got 4 stars is because this had that extra oomph at the ending that I was missing in the previous. It was heartwarming, it was sweet, it was wholesome, but at the same time, like I said, it just pulled at my heartstrings so much. I just really enjoyed this. Like I said, 5-star read, definitely keeping this baby on my shelves. So in terms of a author taste test, the ending question is, would I check this author out again? And obviously, yes. Yes, I will. I'm a little nervous because I do know that the rest of his books are pretty sad. For a while, I kept saying I was going to read My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry. A lot of pronoun words in that, but obviously I never got to it. However, I think that one deals with the grandmother's death, and then I know he has another story that deals with like Alzheimer's. So basically I need to steel myself a little bit before going into those, or at the very least just expect waterworks. So on that note, that is it for today. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I really appreciate it. Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. I have all my socials linked in the description if you're interested in keeping up with what I am reading. I come out with videos on Monday and Friday, but until then, I hope you continue to have a terrific day. Love you, bye!